This evening, the County Committee on School District Organization just held a public hearing, which is an opportunity for the public to weigh in on their thoughts, concerns, ideas around the conversation of potential unification of Upper Lake Union High School District and Upper Lake Union Elementary School District. The district started this process on August 26, 2014 with a joint meeting at that point in time. And what I thought I'd do, and actually, you know what, before I even get into this, I just want to commend the districts for their transparency and their focus on what's best for kids, as they really did take the due diligence to analyze this whole unification question and make sure that there was ample opportunity for public input, and really did keep a focus on what's best for kids through this whole process. So the first, what I've done is I've taken a section of the state handbook on school district consolidation, specifically that focused on unification. And although I have a 4-page checklist of all of the steps that we need to complete, I really reduce this down to 7 larger steps. So I'd like to just take a few minutes and go through that. Obviously, the first step in this whole unification question is to initiate the proposal for unification. And that was done. I received a resolution on June 3rd, 2015 from Upper Lake Union Elementary School District, June 10th, 2015 from Lucerne School District and Upper Lake Union High School District. And the resolutions are in your packets. So that step has been complete. Once I receive those resolutions, I have 30 days as the County Superintendent of Schools to really determine if the resolutions are sufficient and signed appropriately. I took a 7-day period to conduct that process, and on June 17, 2015, I notified the board that the resolutions were sufficient and signed as required by law. So that was 1 week ago. Effective June 17th, the county committee has 60 days to conduct a public hearing process. So I want to, at this point, read into the record just to make sure that we have done so, that we have posted notice of this public hearing at least 10 days in advance. And we posted the notice of public hearing on Friday, June 12th, 2015 in the following locations: Lucerne Elementary School, Upper Lake High School, Upper Lake Elementary School, Upper Lake Middle School, the Lake County Office of Education main office, Hants Community School, Clear Lake Creativity School, Lucerne Post Office, Upper Lake Post Office, Tower Market, which is in Lucerne, Lakeview Market, Nice Market, Double D's Coffee, Highway Grocery, Century Market, Marina Market, Three Brothers Travel Plaza. Additionally, we have posted the notification on the LCOE website and included it on the LCOE Facebook page. I also want to take just a moment to thank Lake County News, because there were at least 2 articles that they had published that indicated the dates and times of this meeting. One article was specifically to notify the public of this meeting. So we have ample notification of this public hearing. This is the first of 2 public hearings. This one is in the Lucerne District. The meeting at 7 o'clock tonight will be in the Upper Lake districts. So we will, by the end of today, have fulfilled our requirement to hold 2 public hearings in the affected districts. The state cites this as a major step, and that is that we need to notify the Local Agency Formation Commission. This is a commission that oversees changes to local government boundaries involving the formation and expansion of cities and special districts, such as the school district. That notification was mailed out on June 18th of 2015. We are also required to address questions in regard to California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. On June 17th, 2015, at a meeting of the county committee, it was determined that this unification is not a project under CEQA, as there are no foreseeable indirect physical changes or direct physical changes as a result of the question in terms of unification. So that really brings us, after tonight, the county committee will have 120 days to put together a study on the effects of unification in terms of 10 criteria that the state has established. One of those criteria is an open-ended criteria that we may want to look at additional criteria. So there are 9 defined criteria and 1 additional open-ended one. So those criteria include enrollment, community identity, equitable division of property and facilities. And I should stress that these criteria are to address any sort of school district consolidation, not just unification. So it could be de-unification or formation of a new district. So some of these questions may seem to have very little relevance in terms of unification. Criteria number 4 is that the unification will not promote racial or ethnic discrimination or segregation, that there will be no additional cost to the state or taxpayers, that unification will continue to be the basis for sound educational performance, that there will be insignificant facilities costs as a result of unification, that unification wasn't done to enhance or affect property values, and that the unification promotes sound fiscal management. The 10th area are other criteria that are defined by regulation. And one of those areas that we may want to take a look at would be bonded indebtedness, and how the districts would handle bonded indebtedness. So as I had stated earlier, the county committee has 120 days to either approve or disapprove the resolution to unify at this point in time. So within your packet, there should be a timeline. And this is a tentative timeline. We could add additional meetings if we determine it to be necessary. We're already halfway through this timeline. So as of tonight, we will have conducted the public hearings. August 19th is our next time that we are scheduled to meet as a county committee, and we are scheduled to take action at that point in time. The reason that we want to take action by August 19th is that we need to forward a recommendation, the county committee needs to forward a recommendation to the State Board of Education by September 1st in order to get it on the State Board of Education's November 4th and 5th meeting agenda. So they need a 2-month notification. We want to get it on that November 4th and 5th meeting agenda so that in December we can start the process, or complete the process really, of placing a new board, appointing a new board, or electing a new board, whatever the case may be, to really give them ample time to put a new district into place. So tonight's really an opportunity to express thoughts, ideas. You can ask questions. We will record answers to any questions on the easel behind me in case we can't answer them tonight. I do want to address a couple of items on each of the resolutions, and that is the request to waive elections in each of the district resolutions. The State Board of Education has the authority to waive the election process. The county committee can endorse or support that waiver. They can oppose that waiver, or they can take no position on that question. So while it's important for the county committee to discuss the waivers and to decide on a position to take, the ultimate decision of those election waivers is going to be made by the State Board of Education. I went over the 9 criteria or the 10 criteria, but the districts have really engaged in a lot of that work, and they've generated a written report already. Now we need to engage in that same work. We're not going to reinvent the wheel on this. We're going to use the district report as the basis for our review process, although we will verify any technical aspects of the report before sharing the final version with the county committee. The report, which was generated at the local level, is likely to be more reflective to the needs and desires of the Upper Lake community, and we certainly wish to honor the local initiative and spirit that has already gone into those reports.
Thank you very much. You heard that there were 9 criteria which have been investigated, and we have been presented at the general meetings that were held so that we would have a chance to hear what work was being done as things moved along. And it was a wonderful process. I really, as did Rock, commend the staff of Upper Lake Schools who worked so diligently to collect all the information, in particular the financial statistics on which a great deal depends. And having said that about the 9 criteria, we have here representatives from Upper Lake schools who are going to talk about each of those criteria so that you have a little bit more information as to exactly what the criteria were that were investigated and what the conclusions were. So Pat, I believe you were
Almost first. Well, thank you. My name is Pat Icino. I'm the superintendent principal of the Upper Lake Union High School District. First of all, I'd like to thank the county board for coming to the meetings, spending quite a bit of time as we went through the 9 criteria for you. It's been a long process. I wanted to thank the boards from both districts for the time and energy. It wasn't an easy process, simply I think because it's a political process. And sometimes it can be emotionally charged at times, but I think we were able to answer any questions that our communities may have had. We had tremendous support from our parents in our community of both the elementary and high school districts. They came, spoke their mind on the issues, left us with many questions to answer. As I look back on my tenure here in Upper Lake, I see I have John Tompkins in the audience, and John hired me 10 years ago, and we talked about unification 10 years ago, and I found out that they talked about unification 100 years before that. So it's always been something that I think has been in the Upper Lakes. I think most people, if you probably ask them, would not even truly know that there was actually 2 districts. As simple as it sounds in the unification of those 2 districts, it's not a simple task. We started conversations with the California Department of Ed well over a year and a half ago as we started the process. As we started answering the 9 criteria, we did develop a feasibility report for you regarding those 9 criteria. I believe you have that. And really, I'm just here to answer any questions pertaining to the 9 criteria. Sue Milhoff is here with me. She's our business manager. I didn't know Becky. I didn't see Becky yet. But if you have any questions, I think always the heart of any matter in education is the budget, and what happens to the budget in the unification process can be sustained in order to support the educational needs of the students of Upper Lake. And I think Sue and Becky should be commended. They did an excellent job in providing that information for Brock and for the county board as it pertained to our current positions economically and what our positions would be upon unification. We know very well that whatever the county board decides, should they decide to approve the unification of the Upper Lakes, we have 1 year from July 1st to actually put everything into motion and get everything in place that we need to get in place. So there's a lot of work that still needs to be done in order to make that happen. I see Lisa's here for Lucerne. Just so you know, Mike Brown and I, and Valerie, we've had numerous conversations about, Lucerne's position on unification, and we respect that 100%. We understand the needs of Lucerne. All of Lucerne's kids come to Upper Lake High School, so we don't see the unification of Lucerne to really be anything at all in terms of what they needed, what they felt as a community that they needed. And so we respected that, and they did provide the Thompson resolution in order to not be part of the unification. But I would also like to put on record that down the road, 10 years, 5 years, 8 years, whatever, should Lucerne ever want to take a look at that, they're more than welcome to. We would never tell them no, simply because all of their students end up being our students. So thank you for your time, and I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Do we have somebody here who's going to speak for the elementary school?
I'm Diane Johnson. I'm the principal of the middle school. Valerie Gardner, our superintendent, has asked me to come and share kind of the elementary school district's perspective. I was not part of all the findings, but she really wanted me to share kind of our experience, as an elementary school district feeding into the high school district. When you think back where school districts ever came from, you think back 1850s when public schools were getting established. School districts were really about that local control. Local people wanted to be able to have a say. And when you look at Upper Lake, and I've been there for 2 years, I worked in Unified for many years, but when you look at a small community like that, it's the same people. And I think for me, coming from a different district again, I really you see all the functions that school districts do, all the fiscal responsibilities. They're doing all the same reports. A lot of the services we provide for students, including the kitchen services, all the different things that we do, you need that in every school district. The state requires so many things from all districts. Unifying with, of course, safe fiscally. You can unify your administration. You can pull together services for the students. But for us, that's not the main reason. For unification, it's really about student success. What the students are experiencing and what the families are experiencing. Having decisions made K-12. Having the superintendent that's really looking big picture, plus one board that's making those decisions, and looking at those students, what's their experience K-12. And regardless of how much we say we're right there, we work together because the districts do. I've really felt that. I've always felt support. I can go across the street, but it's the overall structure of it that would bring it even closer together and articulate those goals for students, make programs even more smooth in transition, and give that bigger picture. So for us, it's really about student success, that we can continue that for our students all the way through from K-12. Thank you.
I believe you're speaking for Lucerne.
And Mike Brown, the superintendent for Lucerne, was unable to attend. He's on vacation and wasn't able to change his plans like Pat did. But I was present when the Lucerne board passed their resolution, and they took a very strong position at that point in time that they were not interested in pursuing unification at this time. And so they did cite Education Code Section 35542, known as the Thompson exclusion, that while they are in support of unification of Upper Lake Elementary and Upper Lake High School districts, they wish to be excluded from unification. It's also important to note that within the resolutions of both Upper Lake Union High School District and Upper Lake Union Elementary School District, they both note in their resolution that they are supportive of Lucerne being excluded from the unification conversation at this time.
Thank you. There's one thing I would like to mention, because Lucerne is not becoming more closely tied up with the Upper Lake schools. I know there's always been good academic collaboration between them, because it's absolutely essential that their students arrive at the high school at the same level, educational level, as those students that have gone through the other school. So I sincerely hope that as the time goes on, Lucerne will make absolutely sure that they are working with the Upper Lake schools so that their students do not arrive at the high school at a disadvantage and can just make a smooth transition from grade 8 to grade 9. So I thank you very much. Now, we have time for some questions. And I see there are 2 people who wish to speak. And I'd like to just mention that, would you please say who you are? One thing I'd like to know, how many of you are staff on any of the schools? Okay, and how many are parents of any of the schools? In other words, we have 5 public, is that correct? Thank you. I would remind you, please, that you're limited to 4 minutes. Now, it's very difficult to talk for 4 minutes, quite frankly. I don't see that as much of a problem. But please say your name, your interest, and if you have questions, and if we are able to answer them, we will do so. If not, we will find the correct answer and publish it on our website. So now I do have 2 names who wish to speak. Ron Ralphs.
Right.
Beg your pardon.
Well, she was supposed to be here earlier, so it's your fault. Okay. So I have 10 years on the high school board and 8 years on the elementary board. And I'm so pleased how well everything went together. Because over the years, it didn't go together. And Pat and Valerie just worked together and Mike Brown. And everything went so smooth. We had very little friction, very little protest, and I just was really pleased with how well the boards worked together to get this process through. I appreciate your help in drawing this out.
Thank you. It's very nice to know, and I certainly agree with those meetings that I was able to attend. Now, the next person, signature is very much like Brian, almost with a needle. Could you please tell me who signed the second one in?
That was probably mine.
That's you? Oh, it does look like it to you.
But I'm already done talking.
Oh, you're done. All right, thank you.
We have had a couple people join us since we...
Are there any other persons who wish to speak?
Well, we're waiting for you to talk. Why are you waiting for me to talk? Well, your dad always talks.
You speak, sister? In admiration of the process, I hope.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Well, my only comment, I think the process really worked very nicely, as Ron said. And my daughter had kept me up to level on how things were going. And I think it worked out very nicely. I'm just a little concerned that Lucerne decided not to become involved. But I will say they're very consistent because they've always said they didn't want to be involved. And that goes back to the early 90s when we tried to do the same thing. My only concern is not to have anything to do with the finances or anything like that. I'm just thinking about student success, which lady here was talking about. And the feeling is that Lucerne, in the long run, will advantage unified. But they have their own local feeling about it. We'll probably
Yeah, one has to respect that.
Yes.
Is there anybody else who wishes to speak? Oh,
I have a letter from a member of the community. If it's all right with you, I'd like to read that.
yes, I would think that's appropriate.
So this is from Walt Christensen. As a longtime resident of Upper Lake and past board member of the elementary school board, I have continued to be an opponent of the proposal to unify the elementary and high schools. During my 10-year term on the Upper Lake Elementary Board, the subject had been brought up, evaluated, and rejected a number of times. It had been determined that this did not show any positive benefit for the elementary school. An obvious increase in costs would be unknown. I have continued to research the issue and speak out at the local board meetings. I was at the June 3rd meeting when the vote to approve was taken. I asked all board members at that meeting to share one reason why the unification would benefit the elementary school. All but one member refused to answer my question. The only member to respond stated, the teachers felt that having just a principal versus a principal and superintendent would help them. I find it totally irresponsible for two boards to vote on a multi-million-dollar expenditure without knowing the total cost. It has been reported that many budget items will increase across the board, and there will also be an ultimate loss in the county board revenue. Thank you, Walt Christensen.
I think we should note that at one time in the meeting, that loss to the county was brought up. And in effect, I think we get $100,000 per district. And we've pointed out that we are not concerned about that. We accepted the fact and decided that if it was benefit to the children, that any loss that we might feel should not be considered at all. Does anybody have any more comments? This has been such a nice, relaxed meeting. It's really been rather enjoy. So I think probably if you have nothing else to ask, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
All right.
Thank you all very much for coming, and we are adjourned.
Thank you. Say, Lisa.